underneath our feet. Come on, shake it. All right. Okay, ladies, I'm so honored and I'm so blessed to be able to speak to you today. And also the gentlemen here, I want to just embrace your presence and you know, putting away the testosterone and saying, I'm here. Because I can't miss this. And you did something that other people say no to, because of ego and because of pride and all those things, and because of shame. There's no reason to be ashamed. You are beautiful, right? And you should see how good you look doing you. So I'm honored today, and thank you again, Mima and Tandeka Gebhardt, for inviting me to speak at this prestigious event. I am honored today to talk to you about the power of decision. Now, I made some notes on what Linda said, and Linda and I studied at the same faculty back in California. And what is so amazing is how this message, without sitting together and preparing something together, how this message is just flowing and flowing and flowing. So you're going to hear some stuff that I may repeat. That's okay. You know, as a cognitive behavioral therapist, your brain do not learn by reading a book. Do you know that? Your brain just takes in the book and you have the knowledge in your cognitive part of your mind, which is only 5 to 10% of who you are, by the way. The rest, that 90 to 95%, where it really needs to go to change your life, is subconscious. That is your autopilot. That's where your thoughts are sitting. That is where you think from and live from, and what you see is just a manifestation of what you think. So I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit. Thank you, Tabia, for that beautiful introduction. So my story, this rock, I don't know if you can see it. If somebody can zoom in on me or whatever, then you can see it. This heart-shaped rock, I picked up on an August morning a few years back when there was nothing inside me to give this world, nothing. I stood on a hill in Oanop and I looked at the sun rising and I said, I have nothing to give this world. I'm done. Broken relationships, unfulfilled job, very career-driven, studied theology, studied Christian counseling, but I was still unfulfilled, and I just came through a divorce. And the universe gave me this rock. God gave me this rock that morning, and it didn't look like a heart. It looked like this when I picked it up, okay? And this was the only thing I held on to for 4 days until my journey started with a coaching course that I started with Karen back then. And back then I said, I want 4 things. I really would like 4 things in my life. Number 1, I'd like to become self-confident. Number 2, I'd like to find my true north. Number 3, I'd like to become a coach. Not really knowing what a coach did, but that's what I said. Okay. Number 4, just like you wrote down this morning, I want true love. You know, I got the self-confidence because I'm now speaking to a group of beautiful people here today, and I've worked with the United Nations in New York. I've worked with the African Union in New York. I've spoken at Future Females recently, and these flowers are just in my way. Can I just move them before we see yellow balls on the stage? There you go. All right, so I got that back because I started loving and seeing myself. So can I tell you today, everything that you want starts... Why is there a noise? Is it me? Should I talk softer? Everything that you want starts with loving yourself. Accept yourself for who you are. There's one version of you. You will never get it back. Nobody else can do it, even if you're part of a twin or triplets. God help your dear mother. There's just one of you. And you have meaning and purpose to bring to this earth, to this globe. And if you think small, What did Linda say this morning? It starts with a thought. Metaphysics. Everything starts with a thought, and then it becomes a physical manifestation. Right? So if you think small, you'll play small. Okay? So I'm here to stretch your brains and talk to you about decision. I'm here to tell you my story. My story has two hashtags. The one I got from a dear friend, keep on keeping on. And the other one from another dear friend, no matter what. You know, no matter what. In the times that I felt that I couldn't live, that I couldn't make big decisions, in the times that I felt that it was too much for me to live another day on this planet because there's no purpose, there's no meaning for me, I don't make any difference, I'm not happy, I don't understand what it is, all the big things that I faced, I said, no matter what, I'll do it anyway. That's part of your decision. Keep on keeping on. Make that decision anyway. Do it afraid if you have to quote Auntie Joyce Meyer. Finding is reserved for the seeker. You are here today because you are looking for something. I have no doubt that you came here this morning thinking, there's something I'm going to discover about me, about my life. I want this. I desire this. And you know, God will serve you right there. He will serve you right there. When the Israelites faced the Red Sea, they had to do something. They had to put their foot in the water, and then the water parted. You can't stand on the edge of a decision today and say, I want that, but you're not willing to give the next step. And I have several of these stories to tell you. My Martin moment is the day, and my Dr. Martin Luther King, that's my Martin moment. He said, I had a dream. You know, 3 months down my coaching path, I realized that I could help somebody that nobody else could help, not even psychologists. And because of that person that I coached for free, my business started. Because unbeknown to me, she had a psychologist friend. And this friend witnessed the change in her after spending time with me. I sacrificed a New Year's Eve to do that. And she had a manifestation, the one on the other, and I won't tell her story, but that was my Martin moment. In that moment, I said, but I want to do this for a life. What do you want to do? What do you want to change in your life? Speak it. Write it down. Continue on that very page where Linda left you this morning, and continue with writing your story. What do you want? You know? If your child don't ask you for that ice cream, you'll never know. So they come, and they ask you, and they just trust they're going to get it. Interestingly, the Bible says, unless you get like little children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Interesting. And I'm not here to preach, but I do quote. Putting my feet in the Red Sea was that moment where I said, I want to do this. I want to touch people's hearts. I know the process. It comes from here. I didn't just read a book. It comes from deep inside me. And I want to help people discover their own beauty. I want to people discover their own confidence. I want to help people see them like they really are, for who they really are, for how powerful they really are. Because I couldn't see me. For years and years, I couldn't see me. So, and that's how it all started. And then the path. The path was, I programmed the GPS, like you did this morning, I want this thing. And then I decided for that thing. And then I just followed the journey. You know, a GPS, you never program a GPS and it says to you everything you have to do to get to that destination. Oh, no. It says, how does it start again? Drive away. Then follow this road for 3 kilometers. And now you drive and you check the trees and you check the girls and the boys and, you know, new buildings and stuff. And then it says, in 500 meters, please take the D364 on your left. And then it reminds you, in 200 meters, please take the D634 to your left. And if you so happen to play the music as loud that you can't listen, that you can't hear that prompt, it doesn't say, "Ooh, she's failed. Turn around, you lost. Go back to the starting point." It says recalculating, right? Redirecting. Some people know GPS is better than I do. If you know who you are, you have a built-in GPS right inside here. You just need to know how to connect to it. You trust that little screen in your car, right? You don't know who designed it. You don't know if that map is up to date, but you do it anyway. There's a built-in GPS inside you. And I just love to show you how to connect to that GPS. Your decision honors your significance. Your decision can do two things. It can be indecision, or it can be no decision, which will honor your discontent. You know, you can't say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, and not do something. Simon said this morning, do something. Take a little step forward, decide on that thing that you want to do, and take that one step in the direction of your dreams. Is this thing off? Is it working? Can you hear me? Okay. If I sound a little bit like Steve Hofmeyer, I can't sing. It's just my voice. It's just winter, you know. And so, decision will lead you right into your significance. I couldn't stand there and say, I want to be a coach. I want to be self-confident and do nothing. I had to take that next step. I had to do it. Where does your significance come from? Here's your link to your GPS. In whose image are you made again, sister? In whose image are you made again? In the image of God, right. Yeah. That's where your significance comes from. Whether you like it, whether you believe it or not, that doesn't change the fact that you are made in the image of someone bigger than you. Who's breathing you? Who's beating your heart? You ever get up in the morning and saying, I need to breathe? I'm dying, I need to breathe now? Do you switch it on and off? No. You're breathing anyway. That's the beauty of this GPS inside you. Think of that one thing that keeps coming up inside you. There's a calling on your life, or there's something that you need to decide for. There's that person that you need to speak to, but you keep pushing it back. You keep saying, it can wait, I'll do it a little bit later, all of that. There's a voice inside you that speaks something to you that you need to go and do, and you keep ignoring it. You know what? That's indecision. Indecision is also a decision. No decision is also a decision. So we make decisions all the time. We are literally in the driver's seat of our lives. And if we don't take the next step, if we don't make a decision for what we won't ever get there. What do you give yourself permission to do? Linda touched on it this morning. Do you think you're good enough for what you want? If you don't think you're good enough for what you want, my sweethearts, that's where we have to start. You are deserving. You may not believe it right now, but you are deserving. You deserve a good life. You're not on this earth to suffer. That's not the sense of humor of the universe. You are here to have joy, to have fun, to prosper, and have a definite ending. And that ending you design every day. You decide who you're going to be today. And then give the steps. Follow your GPS. Your dream will only have a chance if you decide for it. Yes, but I want to be a life coach, but I can never be Karen Powell. Guess what, Jan? You can't be Karen Powell. Karen Powell is not your competition. Karen Powell is somebody you look up to. You ask her for advice. You admire her. You are happy for her every time that she does well. You know, that's what we all do. We're all trying to imitate somebody else. No, there's enough work in this world for whatever you do. Because you see, your dreams come from significance and service. It doesn't come from following another person's path. You have a path that's unique to you. I always say there's not a shortage of money in this world. When you see poverty, there's a shortage of distribution. there's selfishness, there's greed. It's the opposite of what I stand for. I'm sorry. Yeah. So don't try and be somebody else. Be the best version of you. You are beautiful just the way you are. I lost my slides. I don't know where I am. I'll try and catch up. Anyway, let's continue. Your amazing is unique to you. Only you can bring it to this planet. I started out with coaching, and then I decided I want to do behavior therapy. I didn't start there. You know, now I'm in a practice with Dr. Estie Moritz in Maroa Mall. When the phone rang about 3 months ago, and she said to me, Jan, why don't you quit Standard Bank and come and work with me? I've been referring clients to you for over a year, and I never had any bad feedback. I said, what? Yeah. You know, first we say, ooh, it must be witchcraft. Let me think about it. You know, and that's how the dream gets stolen. You ponder on it, you sit on that egg, you're not a chicken. You're not a chicken. You don't have to sit and breed on eggs. Follow your promptings. Follow the GPS. I said yes. And I'm so fully booked for the last 2 months that some nights I get home Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays every night at 9:30. I kid you not. And then I start 9 o'clock in the morning. And before that, I hardly have time to walk my dog or do anything at home. Because I'm busy. I'm so blessed. Why? I said yes to my dream. Okay? I took a decision. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you. Okay? Take that step. It's calling you. You are limitless. That's my hashtag. I'm limitless. I really am. I don't have any limitations. You know, when I got this business name, I was writing about it in my morning, like a little ritual, and I said, I need to register a business because this person said to me, I need to give her an invoice, and I don't even know where to start, and I don't even have a business name. And I sat in a Standard Bank meeting, and the word limitless came, whoop, and I sat and I lost stock of the whole meeting, and I started writing limitless in all sorts of forms. And then I started drawing an 8. There you go. Here's the pen. Yeah. Yeah, infinity. I'm just sowing a seed today. You know, the day you sow the seed's not the day you reap the harvest. I'm sowing a seed today into this economy, into this world that will reap a good harvest. I will not be around physically anymore to witness it. But may this seed, and I speak it over this seed of decision today, serve this country, serve this economy, serve every marriage, serve every child's life for ages and ages and ages and ages to come. That's what I want. That's why I'm doing this work. All right, so success is an inside story. Wallace Wattle said, you will never do great things in the external world until you do great things in the internal world. What did Linda say this morning? Start thinking. Your thoughts is your point of attraction. Your thoughts is where it all starts. You know, it's subtle. Subconscious mind has no sense of humor. What it does, it'll lie to you and say, oh, I'm just here to keep you safe. I always say to gentlemen, she comes with fishnet stockings. Be careful. She looks so good. Ladies, he has a six-pack. That lie. Don't listen to it. Think what you're thinking about. Oh, sorry. How do I reverse that? In research that Napoleon Hill did, 25,000 people that he researched, he saw that people that experienced failure was because of a lack of decision. They made the top of the list. 25,000 people he studied, the richest people in the world he studied. And people that failed on that path that he studied for 20 years, when Andrew Carnegie commissioned him to do that study, the top reasons was decision. The lack of making a decision. So we can learn from that. By the way, he said to Andrew Carnegie, not only will I be richer than you and do greater things than you, but I will meet you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Can I tell you something? He did just that. Can you say today, Jan Grobler, I will do greater things than you, and I will meet you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. And if you start believing that, you will do just that. Coaching is not just mine. Coaching is our everyone's job. Coaching your children, that's where it starts. I don't have babies, I'm up for adoption, by the way. Definiteness of decision. Wavering equals uncertainty equals inability to lead self and others. Research. It's not my imagination. Research shows us this truth. Okay? If you waver on that call, on the still soft, small voice that can be referred to, that speaks as loud as your willingness to listen, which is living inside you, your internal GPS, the spirit inside you. If you waver, you will lead yourself into uncertainty, and that will lead you to an inability to lead. Now, we think of leading businesses and economies and stuff. You lead right where you are. You lead where you sit. You lead in the way you show up every day. Okay? That's where leading starts. The way you show up, the way you affect other people. If it does not come from love, you have a bad effect. You see, what you do and what you say and what you think will always have a consequence. Always have a consequence. So for success, you have to learn to reach decisions promptly, and it's not something you need to learn. You need to decide, I'm going to decide. And if you change them at all, change them slowly. Okay? Decide quickly, and don't just change. And if you do change them slowly. For failure, there's your recipe. See if you can relate to this. I can. Reach decisions, if at all, very slowly and change them frequently and quickly. Now I want this, oh no, I want that, no, and then I want that, oh, and then I want the sweet, and by the way, and you get so distracted that you lose focus on your desire. That's exactly what we do. No, I want this, and then I want that, and then I want that. Decide, stay focused. Desire is a calling, desire is a point of attraction. You're not made to fail. Do you know the twins? They called indecision and procrastination. Indecision, ladies and gents, is also a decision. Procrastination, that wavering that leads you to uncertainty, that's how they look. That's where it starts. Some of us are very good at saying, let me pray about this for another week. Maybe God will audibly say to me, you can now light a candle and phone the person and say yes. And then it doesn't happen. No, I didn't hear from God yet. But inside you, that voice, that calling, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. The still, small voice, the voice of truth. How do I give away my power? Procrastinate. It's the opposite of decision. Don't tell yourself a lie and say, I will get to it. You're only fooling yourself. Procrastination stops you from making that decision. Why? Because we don't have clarity. Why? Because we think things, we have thoughts that runs through our minds. It's like a superhighway. Did you know that brain research shows us that, and I'm working with neuroscientists scientists in Cape Town, and they show you these pictures of the brain lighting up when it's joyful and positive, and it makes a decision that's joyful. Do you know that when you get confused, that negative energy steps in, your brain's lights inside, when they connect you, that just goes dull. It doesn't look too good. You can clearly see the difference between a happy brain and a sad brain, because a certain brain and an uncertain brain. Really? Yeah. Why do we procrastinate? Very simple answer. People's opinions of us. You know, if I need to listen to opinion 1 verse 1 of everyone that does not like me, I would never do this work. I would not stand on the stage. I would not open my mouth. Because, you know, people say, but Jan, you're just from the Kalahari Red Dunes. Yes, that's right. Check me on Oprah, babes. I'm going to be on Oprah. Watch me. Okay? Where I come from has no determination on where I'm going to. Write this down. Where you come from has no say on where you are going to. You decide. So don't listen to people's opinions of what you can and cannot do. You are made in the image of who, sister? Amen. Lack of self-confidence. If you have self-confidence issues, you need to work on that. Phone me. I'm here. That's what I do every day. I have a few clients here that sits around here that works with me for quite a long time. Ask them. Phone me. Don't sit stuck and say, oh, I'm just worth nothing. I can't do that. I don't have the confidence. I didn't go into a shop and buy it. I worked at it. I decided I want it. And God will serve you right there. The universe will give you what you ask for. We don't know who we really are. That's point 3, and probably the biggest one for me. I didn't know who I really was. I didn't know that I have all the answers inside me. I didn't know that I have all the solutions inside me. Do you know that? Do you really know that? Cognitively, but do you know it here? In your heart? Do you know that when I face struggle on the outside, I'm a human being having a spiritual experience? That's where most of us are. I spoke to a group last night of my Dream Builders, they're in session 3, and it was epiphanies that went up when I said to them, guys, you are spiritual beings having a human experience. That changed the drawing board completely. The playing field is level. You can do whatever you want. You are not here at mercy. You are mercy for the mere sake that you are one with the universe. The universe lives inside you. Everything you face is in your human experience. Don't let that determine who you're going to be. You decide who you're going to be. Right? I want to show you a video. Oopsie, sorry, how do I stop this? Let me just go back. I want to show you a video of Bob Proctor. When I said to Linda yesterday, I'm going to show this video, she said, Jan, it's 15 minutes long. I said, yeah, it's 15 minutes long. But I cannot not show it to you. So I want you to engage in this video. I want you to write down everything that you learn. By the way, just as an introduction to Bob Proctor does not even have matric, ladies and gentlemen. He's one of the richest men in America. Okay? What is different between him and us? He believes in himself. He makes decisions quickly, he makes them promptly, and he goes for his dreams. And I hope this inspires you. But this is not only an inspiring point, it's also a teaching point. So make some notes. We're going to discuss it afterwards. Enjoy.
Hello there and welcome. I'm Bob Proctor. I want to talk to you about forming a habit that'll literally change your world. I formed this habit a long time ago, and I'm going to tell you, my world changed like night and day. Work for me, it'll work for you. But before we get into it, I want you to come back in history with me to September the 12th, 1962.
For the eyes of the world now look into space, to the moon, and to the planets beyond. Our leadership in science and industry, our hopes for peace and security, our obligations to ourselves as well as others, all require us to make this effort, to solve these mysteries, to solve them for the good of all men. There is no strife, no prejudice, no national conflict in outer space as yet. Its hazards are hostile to us all. Its conquest deserves the best of all mankind. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win.
Do you know what John Kennedy did there? Made a decision. That was a decision. It was a big decision, and it changed everything forever. Well, do you know, decision is something most people never really learn, and for good reason. Stay with me, because I'm going to show you something here that you possibly have never looked at before. This book changed everything for me. In this book, it's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. There's 15 chapters. There's one chapter, the entire chapter is dedicated to decision. Now you may say, well, I make decisions. Do you really? You may make little ones, but you make the real important ones. Do you go after what you want in life? Do you get everything you want in life? See, the truth is only about 3% of the people are really living the way they want to live. driving the car they want to drive, taking the trips they want to take, living in the houses they want to live in. Most people do not, and they'll tell you why they can't, and they'll give you a string of reasons a mile long. All seem very practical, very reasonable, and the leader of them all is they can't afford it. Well, the truth is, we live in the richest country in the history of the world. Money is the easiest thing in the world to earn once you learn how. Well, if you turn making a decision into a habit, you're going to learn how to do a whole lot of things you may think you can't do. See, what we're doing is we're exploring a side of our personality that we really don't understand. Now, I photographed a page out of here. Napoleon Hill said, those who reach decisions promptly and definitely know what they want, and they generally get it. The leaders in every walk of life decide quickly and firmly. That's the major reason why they're leaders. He said the world is a habit of making room for the man or woman whose words and actions show they know where they're going. And he went on to explain why we have difficulty here, for very good reason. Indecision is a habit, which usually begins in youth. The habit takes on permanency as the youth goes through grade school, high school, and eventually through college without any definite purpose. The major weakness of all educational systems is they neither teach nor encourage the habit of definite decision. Now, why is that? Well, the truth is, most people really don't know. We're dealing with a side of our personality that most people do not understand. What you see here is not me. This is my body. You never hear anyone say, am hand. You see, we've got to take a look at the non-physical side of ourselves. President Lincoln put that very well. He said, to believe in the things you can see and touch is no belief at all. But to believe in the unseen is a triumph and a blessing. Well, let's look at this. Making a decision, we're going into the unseen part of ourselves, using faculties most people don't even know they've got. You see, Einstein said the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. Well, he said the rational mind is a faithful servant. He said we have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. What is a servant? Well, there it is there. It's our sensory factors. We can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. What are they for? They're to help us correspond and communicate with our outside world. But you know that the physical world is nothing but the manifestation of the non-physical world. That's right. Here we've got something that's nothing short of a miracle when we look at it properly. This is a little cell phone. It has more power than the computer had that took the first rocket to the moon. Think of that. And I'm carrying it around in my pocket. I can touch a button and bang, like that, send a picture to you, and you'll get it simultaneous with me sending it. How does all that happen? Well, it happens because we're dealing with the non-physical side of ourselves. We're dealing with just pure power. How do we get at that? Well, we've been gifted. We've been gifted with something no other form of animal life has. We have these higher faculties. You've got perception, memory, imagination, will, reason, intuition. I want you to shift your perception for a moment of yourself. You know, our good friend, the late Wayne Dyer, he put it very well. He said, when you change the way you look at something, what you look at will change. Change your perception. Do you know the reason most people don't make decisions? Because they can't see how they're going to get there. So what do? They keep doing things that they can see how they're going to get there. And that's why their life never really changes. Stick with me here for a moment. Think of you. You are a mass of energy and you function on frequencies. That's what you are. Take a look at yourself. Here's a shot taken by Kirlian photography. Semyon Kirlian was a Russian who perfected a form of photography way back in the early 30s that'll photograph mass where you can photograph the energy leaving the body. There's a glow of energy around you. This physical thing we live in is a mass of energy. Well, we're going to be talking about the non-physical side. You see, a frequency is a level of vibration. Do you know vibration is a natural law of the universe? Everything vibrates, nothing rests. We live in an ocean of motion. Now, there's an infinite number of frequencies. Now get this. Let all these lines represent levels of vibration, okay? Levels of vibration, as we said, are referred to as frequencies. You and I think on frequencies. the highest function we're capable of. Now here's where you really want to pay attention. This, if you get this, if I communicate this effectively, your life can change, because it sure changed mine. We think on a frequency, and the frequency we think on dictates the results we get. So we're sitting here and they say, these are my results, but this is where I really want to go, and we point to a star. Somebody said, what do you really want? I really want to be wealthy. Do you know that most people never live the way they really want to live? They don't. They never earn the amount of money they can. They don't live in the house they really want to live in. They don't take the vacations they really want to take. Why? Because they don't know how. You see, when they set those targets, they look off into a space and they see nothing. Now look here for a moment. These lines represent levels of frequency, or you could say levels of awareness. But when we set the target way up there, it's all gone. We don't know how to get there. Think of that. Think of what Steve Jobs says. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots are going to connect as you go ahead. Now that's pretty big. If you're going to look at the unseen, you have to use the higher faculties. That's what Einstein talked about, the sacred gift. We can use faculties to look into the future. We can go into the future with our imagination and see ourselves where we want to be a year from now, and then bring that into the present and begin acting like the person we want to become. So let's go back and look at this again. We'll say, that's where I want to go, and I'm going to get there. Now, we do make decisions, but then we say, not going to start yet. I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. I talked to a young couple. In fact, I wrote about them in a book, Pat and John. I sat with them in a hotel in Toronto, and they said they wanted to buy a house. And I said, well, go on out and buy one. We said, we can't buy a house. We haven't got any money. I said, you don't need any money. They looked at me rather strange. I said, what do you need the money for? You haven't made the decision to buy the house. You see, you don't need the money until after you make the decision. Person say, I want to take a trip, and I'm going to go as soon as I get the money. You don't need the money to make the decision to take the trip. I'm going to start my own business as soon as everything's right. Things are never going to be right. You've got to make a decision. Now, you see, when you make the decision, everything starts to change. Look at this for a moment. You're thinking down here on this frequency, and that's what's giving you the results you're getting. If you want to go where you say you want to go, you've got to get on that frequency. You see, the truth is, you're not thinking about getting there. You're letting the present results repeat, and that's the star you're shooting at. You're going to get the same results over and over and over again as long as you keep your thinking there. You've got to get your thinking up on this higher frequency. Because when you get on that frequency, the thoughts and things that are going to come into your mind will take you there. How do you think we got to the moon? Kennedy didn't know how to get to the moon. When he asked Dr. Wernher von Braun, who's considered the father of the space program, what will it take for us to build a rocket, carry a man to the moon, and bring him back safely to Earth? He said, the will to do it. The will is one of the higher faculties. That's what Einstein was talking about. The will gives you the ability to focus on one thing to the exclusion of everything else. When you focus on that one thing, you're on that higher frequency. How do you do that? Well, first, you got to make a decision to go there. You see, your mind and thoughts must be focused on the same frequency as your goal. How do we do that? We make a committed decision. That's where I'm going. And when you make the committed decision, that's irrevocable. You cannot go back. You shut the past off. You begin thinking on this higher frequency, and you think and act like the person you want to become. Does it sound preposterous? That's what the Wright brothers did, and they introduced us to a new kingdom. That's what Sir Edmund Hillary did. I had the good fortune of working with him. He was a beekeeper from Auckland, New Zealand. He was the first person to ever climb Mount Everest. He didn't know how to get to the top of that mountain until after he got there. He trusted in the image that he held in his mind. You got to trust in the image you hold in your mind. You got to think like the person you want to become. It takes a decision to get up on that higher frequency. And the second you make the decision, everything starts to happen. Now you got to believe you can do it. The moment your belief matches with any state, the higher frequency is the state. The moment your belief matches with any frequency, you fuse with it, and this union results in the activation, the projection of the plots and plans and conditions and circumstances. Things start to happen. Think about it. You're going to a dance, you need the new dress. You make a decision, you don't know where the money's coming from, but you've got to have the dress. You get the dress. You want that car, you make it as, you get the money, you get the car. The moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. And this union results in everything that happens. Now look at this new state of conscious awareness becomes your home from which you view the world. You're operating on a different frequency. Don't expect a lot of support from the people around you. They don't know what you're doing. They probably think you've gone a little crazy. But listen, in your workshop, and if you're observant, you're going to see your outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. Do you want to know the beautiful truth? This works like unadulterated magic. It does. This is what all our Proctor Gallagher Institute programs deal with. I want you to control the flow. There's thought energy flowing to and through you. It's flowing freely to and through you. Make certain it proves everything that it connects with. You've got all of this power locked up within you. Utilize it. Go after what you want. Quit going after things you already know how to get. There's no real gain in that. Don't compromise. Go after what you want. It's not that easy, but I'm going to tell you something. It sure is worthwhile. Turn decision-making into a habit. And when you do that, everything changes. See, I didn't go back to school. No formal education. I didn't gain any business experience. I made a decision and bang, away I went. And everything started to fall into place. I opened offices in different countries, in different cities. I earned all kinds of money. I had money coming to me while I was sleeping, and so can you. In fact, you turn this into a decision, you can earn more money when you're sleeping than you'll spend when you're awake. Decision, it'll change your world.
So, ladies and gents, this is really what it's all about, is making the decision. Henry Ford said to a group of his team that was struggling to build a vehicle, he said, if you think you can do it, and if you think you can't do it, you are right. I'll say that again. If you think you can do it, and if you think you can't do it, you are right. Okay? So whatever you believe about you, that's what you will be able to do. So I want to tell you the story just to solidify what Uncle Bob just told us about decisioning. So I was in California. I was sitting in a room full of like 300 people, maybe more, around tables, and we shift spots all the time. And I sat there and I just qualified for my Dream Builder certification. And the faculty offered the next level course that in our money is around $200,000 at a special that day. And it was a Sunday. And Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, this was the end of that special. So after 6 o'clock on Sunday, it's a lot more expensive. And the time difference, around 9 hours. Namibia was sleeping. I was working at the bank at the time. And I was the head of credit personal markets, so I knew exactly who to phone, who to WhatsApp, who to whatever. But they're sleeping. And I went to Mary and I said, I want to do this. And she said, well, give me your credit card. I said, well, there's not enough on. And she said, well, there must be a way that you can do it. And she sent me back. I got so worked up over these people that do not understand the time difference. You see where my focus went. And I got so negative and worked up. And then I sat, just like you did this morning, in my notebook at the table, and I wrote, I am so happy and grateful that I am now a life mastery consultant, and I can help even more people doing even deeper work and helping them to get out of those places where they are stuck. And a lady sat next to me with the name Jamie Wolf. And Jamie said to me, hey, what's next for you? I said, well, obviously, I want to become a life mastery consultant. And she said, why are you not doing it? I said, well, I just don't have the money on my credit card now. Now, you must know, Jamie is a bee farmer. She lives in California. She has public speaking engagements all over the world. She's this beautiful soul. She's got a stunning sense of humor. She's as tall as a light pole, a lamp pole. And she's looked at me and she says, and she grabbed my hand and she literally pulled me to the registration desk, gave her credit card, took my faculty number and said, please pay this man's course, 220,000 around. That was the amount. I did not know how I will get there. I knew I wanted to get there. 2 days later, I could refund Jamie, and I will forever remember this story because she blessed me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm standing in front of you, is the fact that that woman just said, I'm going to help you, and I'm going to pay it forward. You see, I couldn't see that from where I stood and made that decision that I want to do this. There was no way that I knew how to do it. I just knew what I wanted to do and why. And I left the how to the universe. And it eventually worked out in a beautiful way. The manifestation came within like 5 minutes since I wrote that note. So believe in your dream. When you wrote that note this morning, believe that something is going to come for you. The paradigm in you, very quickly. Like I said before, we are 90 to 95% on autopilot, which means your subconscious mind has control over your belief systems. The Bible says, as a man believeth he is, so is he. Okay? So what you believe about your own abilities and what you deserve and what you can do and what you can accomplish and what you dream about, how possible it is, that is literally in your subconscious mind. So in order to change that, we need to change what we believe about ourselves so that cognitively it can just manifest. Those thoughts will just change if we can start to say, but I am good enough. I approve of myself. I am worthy. I can do this. Reprogram what you believe you can do. It's up to you. It's really up to you. Nobody can do that for you. They can help you, they can advise you, but you can change what you believe about you. When you change the way you look at something, what you look at will change. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Uncle Bob also used that quote in his video just now. Just because you connect the dots to the past, and just because you think I'm not worthy of doing this, and I've never done anything bigger than that, and I've failed 100 times, and you know, this is the second or the third marriage, or this is the so manyth relationship, or this is the so manyth business that I try, or I just cannot earn money, I'm not good in making money. It's all those thoughts. It's just a past experience. It's just part of your shaping into you becoming a greater version of you. The expression within you, that inner GPS, the great grand overall designer, the GOD, does not shrink because you shrink. It's you that shrink. So expand. Become a match with who you really are. The more you expand, the more you become limitless. It's not going to happen in one day, but guess what? I'm not where I was yesterday. I know what I can do. Every morning I decide and I stretch myself a little bit further. And that's how you do it. That's literally how you accomplish it. We've spoken about that. We choose to do what we know how to, and we decide for our future. Everything was once a thought. Linda said it so beautifully this morning. Starry, starry night, your mum looked at your dad. There was some glitter in their eyes. Dad had this big smile on his face. Mum had this grin on her face, and whoop up, here you sit. Interesting. There's flowers again. It was a thought. Even you started with a thought. Okay? Think what you're thinking about. That will become a reality. Let's talk about some of the lineage of decision makers, and this is by no means all of them. It's just people that inspires me silly. Turn your wounds into wisdom. Don't let your wounds stop you, Madam Oprah Winfrey. I'm still manifesting, sitting with her, having tea, talking about the Kalahari back in Namibia. It's coming. I admire this woman because she was fired as a news anchor. She cried at every single scene. How many of you had a failure in your work somewhere in your life, or a failure somewhere in your life in any other area? Oprah was fired. She wasn't always rich. She could choose that day to stay where she was, connecting the dots to the past, or she could turn around and say, and do what she did, and do what she does every single day, inspire people all over the world. Yeah. Okay? She's just a woman like you. Rosa Parks. To bring about change, you must not be afraid to take the first step. Thank you. Somebody's listening. We will fail when we fail to try. Oh, Jan, I really like that guy. Yeah? No, but it's out of our culture to make the first move. Really says who? Where is it written? Just because your grandmother believed it like 50 years ago, it doesn't mean it's still appropriate today. Just tell him he's got a nice behind and see what happens. So what? Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are probably right. Henry Ford, isn't it amazing? You know, they struggled to get all those cylinders into one vehicle, into one engine. And he just didn't give up. And I can carry on. One of my favorites. This man stood in front of 200,000 people and said he had a dream. His dream was that his kids would not suffer for the color of their skin. Today, we eat that fruit. Martin planted that seed long ago. So what you say has power, but he decided for that. And here we are. We're fortunate not to look at the color of skins anymore. Yeah. Okay? Those are people that really inspires me. Amelia Earhart, female pilot. You will know. Ha, where's my pilot girl? There she is. Yeah. There's more to life than being a passenger. Fly that fighter jet yourself, honey. Because you can. Yeah. That's how you do it. Decide, and then you do it. Right. Finally, one definite decision I make today is, and I want some music here. I want you to take your notepads and look at your dream that Linda wrote this morning, that you wrote with Linda this morning. Okay, take that notepad, and if something else comes up, that's also okay. You're not in school. Listen to the voice inside you. Okay, there's a decision that's calling your name. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down what decision it is that you are not making because you don't know how, because you're too scared, because of whatever reason. What is that decision that keeps calling you? Right? Take some time and write it out. Don't think it, ink it. Okay. I think I can. Put it behind the toilet door, put it on your car's dashboard, write it, send it to your friends. Tell them Jan said he knows that I can. It starts with your thoughts. I want to read you a poem, but I want the guys in the back also to close their eyes. Nobody will steal anything, nothing will get lost. Can you all just close your eyes quickly? I want to read a poem to you, and I want you to connect with us divinely. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think that you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you lose, you are lost. For out of the world we find success begins with a fellow's will. It is all in the state of his mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but soon or late the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. It was an honor to speak to you. I love you, and I'm looking forward to see great testimonies come from this day forward into the next and the next and the next and the next Women's Summit. Thank you. Namaste.